Hi everyone, welcome. If you're new here, so happy to have you. I'm Marlise, this is BitKnits, and welcome back to all of my viewers that have followed me throughout the years. I've got a lot of little, fairly quick makes to show you today. That's basically what I worked on most of the weekend. I did manage to finish some things, and I continued some progress on some other things. So let's first take a look at all of the smaller type items that I managed to get done this week. The first thing that I made was this little turtle. This is a pattern by Jada and Stitches, and she actually had a live fairly recently where she made this little turtle. I believe she also has a video tutorial on like a bigger version of this, and you basically make what is called like an African flower motif. So you make two of those, and then for these smaller versions, I think the pattern is a little bit different than on her larger one. But if you watch that live, and I will link it down below, she goes into detail really well on how to make a smaller version. So these are little keychain version sizes. You go ahead and you make the top, the shell, and then the body underneath. You then make the little flippers, and those are super easy. It's like basically one round, maybe two. The second round would just be like seaming up and closing up the little flipper. You make the head. I used safety eyes. You kind of stuff the head a little bit, and then you place all of the parts flat, and his little tail. I forgot about his little tail. He's got a little tail back there. But basically you just place each of those little pieces, so the flippers, the tail, the head, in between the top and the bottom piece, and then you sew them together. And it creates a really nice small turtle. This happened to be the very first one that I made, so I was just kind of watching the live, and I said, yeah, I want to try to make one of these. This is really cute. I think I can handle it. It's like part amigurumi because you've got the head and the flippers and you're assembling something, but it's also motif granny square style. I can handle that, and he's adorable. I then went on to make two more, and I turned them into keychains. So I did the same thing, made the two top and bottom pieces, made the heads, made the flippers and the tail, assembled it, and then I added some beads. So what I did was I took a strand of yarn, or just, I think I used this sort of tan beige color. I chained 7 or 8, and then I slip stitched all the way back down the chain, threaded these beads so it's nice and sturdy. And before I forget, and then when I got to the top, before I started slip stitching back down, I single crocheted or slip stitched or something through the hole of this little keychain to secure it onto this keychain, and then slip stitched back down, threaded the beads. I did add a little bit of a charm, so this one's lemon, as you can see. And then I just secured it in the body, in that center section of the body. Same with this. This is the watermelon inspired, and I added a little watermelon charm. So this one's my watermelon one. I've got my lemon lime one. I have other food charms that I'm going to turn or make into these. So I've got like an orange, so I'll do an orange turtle. I think I've got a banana, so I'll do another yellow and brown turtle. I think I've got maybe an avocado. I've got a whole bunch of different ones that I think would be super cute for this. So that is what I did, I think on Saturday, Sunday. This one I made earlier last week just to kind of get the hang of it, get my head wrapped around the pattern, decide if I wanted to continue on, and I did. So if you're interested in like a small type amigurumi that is not all amigurumi. You've got the nice motif style. And actually, I was worried, speaking of just using a motif and not doing single crochets like you do for the head, I was worried that in some of these holes that stuffing or, it's not quite, it would start coming out, is what I'm trying to say. And it really doesn't. I used yarn scraps, little ends to stuff these guys with, and so far nothing has come out. I did use a smaller hook than I think she did in the tutorial just because I wanted a tighter stitch, but I think I only sized it down a half. I don't think I went any smaller than that, so I want to say maybe I used a 3.5 for these. I don't remember, but those are super cute. Super happy with how those came out. And then I decided, let's do some stars. So this is a cute little star. These are probably one of my favorite amigurumi things that I've done so far because they're so easy and they come out so cute. I was intimidated by adding blush and the embroidery smile and things because I'm typically not good at that, or I feel like I can't get it right. And some of them are not perfect, but they still look cute. This is actually a tutorial by Hooked by Robin, and it's a pattern that she didn't write, but she reached out to the pattern writer asking if she could do a video tutorial on her channel, and they allowed her to do that. So she posted the video tutorial, and I will link that down below. So if you're interested in these cute little stars, you'll have that video tutorial. I'll also put a link to the written pattern so you can find that if you'd rather just have the written pattern in a blog form and not have to watch the video. But these are super cute, and the written pattern is only for the stars. Hooked by Robin will show you how to put in the eyes and the blush and the mouth and things like that. So super cute. Love those. These took so little time. I think I could make all, I've got 7 here, and I think I made all of those in, it was over an hour, but it wasn't much more than that because the hardest part is just sewing them up. That's what takes the longest. Crocheting the actual stars did not take very long, and it took a little bit extra to add the eyes and the mouth and the blush, but not as long as I would have thought. Super happy with those. So I've got all of those amigurumi successes. Let's take a look at my amigurumi fail. This, I mean, you can kind of tell it's a snake. This is a pattern. I don't remember the pattern name or the creator. I'll link that down below. It's a unique type of pattern for one of these like snake plushies. What you do is you crochet a long chain and then you work increases and decreases almost as if you were going to do a spiral or a coil, and then you seam the snake together and it's supposed to automatically coil without stuffing or wire or anything, and it does. I think this is more of a me issue because I actually had no issues with the pattern. I had so many issues with the yarn. I used the Big Twist Posh. I think it's the Posh yarn. So it's, it's a kind of a chenille plushy type yarn. And it was shedding and splitting. And by what I mean by splitting is it would shed so much that I was left with just that tiny little thread, and then it would snap because I would, especially when I was sewing these two sides together at the bottom, I got so frustrated and so angry. I would just pull it, and then of course it would break, and I'd have to rethread and continue. I almost quit on the sewing part multiple times, but I didn't because I wanted to see how it was going to come out. You're supposed to add a little mouth, but I didn't have it in me to do anything else once I got him all sewed up. I think I'm going to try this pattern again, but I'm going to use acrylic yarn just, again, to get the feel of it, see if I can actually get it to do what I want to do, to make it look right. I am not good with like fuzzy, plushy yarns. I just don't get along with them as much. I guess that's just because I'm not used to it. This was the end of my plushie making this weekend. After this one, I said I can't do anymore. But all of the links for all of these little amigurumi type things will be down below. Because we just had Memorial Day a few days before, so maybe Friday, Saturday, I decided to make a star garland. So they're just simple stars, and I made 6 of them, strung them up, and we have a garland. So I was just trying to get in the mood and do a little bit of red, white, and blue for Memorial Day. That turned out super cute, though I always kind of head towards garlands when I'm in between projects because they're basically just appliques that I can string up. So it's keeping my hands busy while I'm thinking, what do I want to make next? What project am I going to work on, especially if it's going to be a bigger project? Next, I finally finished the Willow Top. This is a Kelsey Passionate Goods pattern. She has a YouTube video tutorial on this. Really love how this came out. Was not thrilled by how long it took me, and it really shouldn't have taken me that long. But they're all single crochets for the front panel, and you're working in the back loop only. So it has some ridges on it. And then of course you work really long chains and you do something cool in the back. As you can see, you kind of crisscross all over the place. Comes out really cute. Hard part is trying to figure out how many chains you're going to need to crisscross back and forth. Plus you want to leave a little extra to tie and kind of hang down. I think this was like 240, 250 chains for this whole back part. So it was a lot of counting at the end. And then we have a nice little scalloped edge on the very bottom. So again, it shouldn't have taken me that long. It took me over a week to do because I kept putting it to the side because I really didn't want to work single crochet back loop only over and over and over again, especially because the top works up really fast because you're starting with short rows, and then as you create down through the body, the rows get longer, and they're not even that long, but they get longer, and it's just a little bit more time consuming to work single crochet back loop only. But I got that done. So very happy about that. I hesitate to even show this because I think I got like 5 stitches done in this star blanket that I'm working on. This is a Jada and Stitches pattern. I will link this down below. It's a free pattern on her blog, I believe. Here is where my stitch marker is. I don't even think I've moved it from the last time I showed you. Where is my end? Yeah, see, my end is right here where I'm currently working. I think I just got maybe like a corner, an edge right here. Not very much progress, but I love it. I just haven't had the time to focus on it or work on it. And they're all double crochets and just little chain spaces, but because they're all double crochets, there's just a lot of stitches to work into. The yarn that I'm using is that Willow Yarns Wheels, and it's really soft. I love how it works up. I love working with this yarn. It's gentle on your hands. It just glides off the hook. So I'd highly recommend the yarn, highly recommend this project. I just haven't had a lot of time to work on it. And finally, I've got my star blanket, my other star blanket. This is an 8-point star blanket that I am doing as a crochet along with Sally from Nanny Moon's Crochet. Hi. She is hosting this crochet along. She has the pattern that she's using, and which is this one. It's just a granny shell 8-point star blanket pattern. I think it's by Her Science, and I can link that down below as well, so you can check that out if you're interested. It's a good pattern. It's a good tutorial. So far it's been working up really fast. I am just using some yarns that I had in my stash. I had a whole bunch of gray yarns. I've got like a pound of the purple and this purpley pink, fuchsia, magenta, and then I've got a pound of this lighter kind of a coral color. And I'm really liking how it came out. They're not necessarily the colors that I would have put together or picked if I was making this not from my stash yarn. I just really wanted to make sure that I had enough of each color, because the bigger it gets, the more you need for each round. So I really wanted to make sure that I had plenty. So that's why I chose these colors, but I am actually just really loving it. It's coming out so cute. I love the pops of color against that gray. I think if I had had enough white, I probably would have used white instead of the gray. But honestly, the gray looks great too. So I'm really happy with that. If you're interested in joining the crochet along, it is not too late to do that, and I will again link Sally's channel down below if you want to check that out and join along with us. It runs for I think about 6 weeks or so, so we've already done 1 week, so we've got 5 more weeks left to go, and I'm hoping that I will have a really nice size blanket at the end of it. We'll see. I'm just going to keep going for the rest of the weeks. I think it ends in end of June sometime. So I've got another 4 or 5 weeks to go. We'll see how big this blanket can get. And that is all that I have to show you for this week. Thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate each and every one of you taking some time out to sit down with me and look through all of the things that I've made over the week. Until next time, happy crocheting everyone. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.